Well, hello there folks and welcome back to the channel. Thanks for clicking on the video. So you're joining me at the Bushcraft camp today. Going to be doing a wee bit of a video on the Bushcraft garden, and I'm also wanting to do a wee bit of building as well, which I'm really looking forward to, which I'll go through just in a little bit. But as I said, I'm just going to give you an initial look over at the actual garden itself, the raised beds, and how we're progressing on the actual raised bed side of things. So I have already taken spinach from the actual camp. I've been having that in my sandwiches over the last few days, so absolutely love it. Really nice. But I'll turn the camera around and we'll just have a little look at the actual raised beds themselves. So over on the left hand side here we've got the potatoes, but it does look as if I've finally been nailed by the slugs. So if you look at the actual leaves on this particular plant, there's been an awful lot of devastation. But funnily enough, on the other plants it seems to be okay. So the potatoes seem to be really good, just looking for them to actually start flowering. Once they go into sort of flower, I'm just looking for those flowers to drop off and then I can actually start. And then moving over to the right hand bed. So there, I've actually got beetroot, and then I've got the carrots, and then I've got the strawberries, which seem to be coming along well as well. So really pleased with it, really pleased with it. But one other little thing that I'm going to show you just now, just on the actual walk-in I spotted. So I'll take you over there just now and show you it. So there's a few chanterelle mushrooms just starting. Just spotted them on my walk-in there. So that'll be really good. Really looking forward to trying them out. And again, from my point of view, still a little bit dubious about wild mushrooms. So we'll be taking advice on them before I actually use them at all. And hopefully again in the actual forest there'll be things like blueberries and blackberries. So just absolute phenomenal. Beautiful place. Just going to do a wee pan round on the woodland itself. Just not sure if I've ever done it before. So there's the shelter just there. And to give you an idea, there's one of the other shelters up there, where I've done things like cooking chicken, etc. It's really nice up there as well. Okay, but let's get ourselves set up for the day. Well, I think you'll agree the Bushcraft garden's coming on so well. Really pleased with it. I just wasn't sure whether this project was going to work or not, but it's been such an exciting one. And it's been an amazing feeling this week being able to actually eat the vegetables from the garden, i.e. the spinach. So I'm really looking forward to the potatoes, and even things like the strawberries. As I said, there's blackberries and blueberries in some of the bushes just in the actual background as well, so should be able to get a wee pudding put into the actual meal as well. So just super excited, and then obviously to have the chanterelle mushrooms is just a bonus. Unfortunately, the situation I've got today, so I was going to be doing an overnighter in the backwoods bungalow. Really looking forward to it, but unfortunately a massive storm coming in. Storm's going to be here from about 5 o'clock till about 9 o'clock, and then it's going to be 2 o'clock in the morning till 7 in the morning. So I had to make the decision to actually scrap this staying overnight. So really looking forward to today though. It's going to be a really good build. Not going to tell you what it is, you can sort of guess as we actually go. So what we'll do is we'll head off up into the forest just now and actually just get some of the materials. Okay, so I've decided I'm going to go for this piece for the actual base of the project itself, but it is very thick, so this is going to take me quite some time to actually cut through. Perfect. Woo! So that is the base well and truly prepared now. I've taken all the bark off around the actual outside, so I'm good to go on this part. It is quite moist around the actual outside, so I'm going to have to be careful with this on the next stage that I'm going to be doing. But right now I'm going to be having some water, get myself rehydrated before I go off into the woods and get the last little bit of actual material I'm needing. So I've decided what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the material that I've actually got on the sawing horse, because it's about the right sort of thickness for the project that I've actually got planned. And again, I've been looking at trying to recycle this for a wee while. What can I actually use it for? I was going to use it for firewood, but it's pretty much the perfect thickness for what I'm actually looking for. So I'm going to take this up to pieces and then sort of get it chopped down to actual size, and then I'll show you a little bit more as to what I'm actually planning, and it might make a bit more sense. But it's great to be able to sort of use the wood. This was something I'd actually built years and years and years ago. So it does mean a lot to me, but as I said, it's definitely better to recycle it rather than it just actually sit and waste away. Okay, so what I've done is I've laid it out just now. I've still got quite a lot of actual work to do on it, but as you can see, it is basically, it's another pot just for planting. So again, if they've got any suggestions for what to put in it, I've got a few ideas myself, but just pop it in the comments box below. But really going to be good, really going to be good. It's just going to be going between the two raised beds. So again, it couldn't be too big. Now, what I'll be doing is I'll be cutting sort of like halfway, just a wee wedge out, and then actually battening up and actually putting it on, and then it's going to be a case of Scotch auger hole, and then actually just pegging it into the main base itself, just to sort of hold it all in place. I'll then be using moss to actually fill in the any gaps at all, and then filling it with earth and compost. Love it, absolutely love it. Just love that sort of thing. It's just really, really good to be able to build something just out of deadfall wood or waste wood. Really, really good to actually be able to use the old sawing horse, because I have had that there for quite a while, and I have had lots of little plans and everything, but it was mainly going to end up just being firewood. So to be able to make something out of it is just brilliant, really, really enjoyable. Now, I've probably got about an hour before I'm going to have to leave. The wind is really, really getting up. Just check the weather forecast. Unfortunately, this storm is still coming. So it will be a case of I'm going to be hunkering up in the van somewhere tonight. So that could be an interesting experience. So if I've got any footage, I'll put that in there as well. but it is going to be a bit of an interesting one if the storm is going to be lasting for as long as they're saying it is. Bit interesting. Now, one other little thing I was planning on actually doing, so basically to make sure I get the right width, because none of it's obviously going to be exact, so I am planning on actually putting wee marks round there inside, just to sort of show where each individual bit of wood is, and then actually just numbering them on the actual top, just so when I'm cutting the wedge I've got the right level of the actual section cut out, so that it's all sort of one level. So I'm going to do that just now, and then hopefully get some of them cut just before the actual storm hits. But I definitely want to get back to the van and away from this area before the actual storm comes in. But thoroughly enjoyable day so far, thoroughly enjoyable. Okay, so I'm just going to get cracking with that just now. I'll catch up in a wee bit. I'm just taking advantage of the fact that somebody had used the fire pit. So there is basically charcoal there. Okay, so you can see what I'm planning on doing, and then it'll just be a case of okay, so 17 pieces, and I've marked out where I'm actually going to be using each individual one, which should make my life a little bit easier. Okay, so as I said, I'm just going to start actually cutting the actual wedges itself, just so I know exactly where they all are. So now what I'm going to do is cut down about halfway. That should be fine. Well, what can I say? That's been a huge amount of fun today. I've thoroughly enjoyed that, but I am going to call it quits today and just come back tomorrow morning. But I mean, I'm just going to turn the camera around. The garden's looking really, really good. I know it'll be good to get an extra sort of vegetable in there, whatever I'm going to put in the pot. But as I said, put a comment below as to what you think I should put in. So what I've done just now is I've literally just put everything in there just now. So I'll have a real good night tonight and come back to camp tomorrow morning. But it's just started getting dark, and also it's just started a few wee raindrops. So I'm going to get myself out of the woodland just prior to the actual storm arriving. But as I said, thoroughly good day. As I said, if there is any footage I get of the storm or anything tonight, I will certainly pop it on. But if not, I'll see you all in the morning. Well, good morning there, folks. So I survived last night. Unbelievable weather, just unbelievable. Not seen that much rain in a very, very long time. Incredibly wild night. So I don't know if any of you have slept in a van before, but in a van with the heavy rain, it's quite a noisy experience. So didn't get much in the way of sleep. But I am glad I didn't stay in the forest. I think that was really one of the main things out of it. Don't know whether there was any thunder and lightning in this particular area. Where I actually was, there wasn't any thunder and lightning. It was just heavy rain. There is meant to be thunder and lightning all the way through today, so I'm just going to have to be very, very careful. But I want to come out and try and finish as much as I possibly can. But I do understand that probably not going to manage to finish the actual project today if the weather does sort of go as per forecast. Now, I've always known that I've got like a mouse or a vole or something in the actual the side here, but it's just actually been kicking around, playing around, and I've actually just seen it for the first time as well. I think it's going to be quite hard to actually try and get on camera. There is a little section that's there's no moss, and I've just seen it actually running across there. So it's great to know that this actual roof is still basically a living ecosystem. From the point of view of the fact that it's actually all green, but also that there's wildlife actually in there as well. It's just phenomenal. But so I'm just going to get myself set up and get cracking, and we're going to try and complete as much as we possibly can today. So one other thing I'm going to be doing today, or when I do eventually get round to drilling the Scotch augers, I'm really looking forward to using my Bushcraft ruler. So again, I'll show you this in a bit more detail once we actually get started on it. But again, it's very, very simplistic. It's basically just notches I'll actually cut them with the wood and then just use charcoal to actually mark them out. Because again, as I was sort of saying, the rulers themselves, they don't have to be necessarily exactly a centimetre. It could be 3 notches. So again, I'll be using that to actually drill out the Scotch augers. That's if we get to the Scotch augers today. But I'm going to crack on with the battening just now, just to actually get started with that. At least if I can get that done today, the Scotch augering will be the next section. So I've been spending half the time this morning actually sheltering from the rain. It's been fairly horrendous. But I've got a wee bit of a window just now, so I'm going to try and get as much augering done as possible, or drilling done as possible. So that's everything all battened, so it's moving on to the sort of next stage. Now, I doubt I'm going to manage to get everything done by end of play today, just because of the weather that's coming in. Just want to be a bit on the careful side. But I'll show you just now. Don't know if this is going to make any difference, but what I've done is I've just numbered each individual piece, just when it comes to placing it on the actual base itself. I know what position they're meant to be in. And then again, because it's not particularly sort of cut perfectly or anything at all when it comes to the shape, so the position of the stick is going to dictate the actual angle of the actual base itself. There's method in the madness. Hopefully it'll work out. But I'm just going to get cracking just now, check everything out, and then get the drills out and we'll get the augers done. So what I've done is I've just laid everything out there just now. And again, it's actually 2 pieces that I've got over, but it was more just a case of finding out spacing wise which actually, what configuration worked out best. And as I said, the idea is on the small gaps that are actually round there on some of the bits, I'm just going to be filling that up with moss. And then as I said, that'll just be a perfect wee pot just for actually planting. So the next stage is I'm going to try and auger a few of them just now, just between rain showers. But you can see the concept, so it's basically going to be a case of 2 holes And the reason I'm doing 2 holes was if I just did the one, chances are the wood might pivot. So the 2 holes is just going to be a case of to make sure that it doesn't move around. There we go. So basically I'll be looking at sort of, this is an example, but it's basically just making sure I've got sort of pegs that'll just make out stuff out of the woodland, and then that'll actually just stick it onto the base itself. So I'm just going to do a few more of these. So that's me managed to get 4 or 5 of the actual main beams drilled as well, just with the Scotch auger. So really good, but I am going to call it a day. Quite a bit of thunder rumbling around. Don't know if you can hear it. Just in the background there, so I am actually going to call it a day just now and actually just head home. I do not want to be caught out in another one of those showers. Just unreal. But no, thoroughly enjoyable, really enjoy making things. It's just such an exciting experience, but also just out at camp, if I can try and get some sort of herbs growing as well as the other vegetables, it'll just be awesome. So I'm going to go and try and pick some of the chanterelle mushrooms just now. I just double check that they are chanterelles, which I'm sure they are, but I'm just going to be doubly careful, just making sure that they're identified properly. So thanks very much for watching. As I said, the next video that I'm out of the Bushcraft camp, I'll be finishing off the actual pot itself and getting something planted in it. So really looking forward to that, so that'll be a good one. Okay, so take care. Thanks again. Bye bye.